This is Living Power with Dan Hurst.
The first thing is, stop arguing. Stop arguing. Oh yeah, that's easy for you to say. No, it's not. Just ask Marcia. Have you ever tried to talk with Marcia? Don't you just want to argue with her? Come on, can I get a witness here? Come on. Listen, there are times in a relationship when all you want to do is argue. And especially true because sometimes we have personalities that are driven and competitive and we want to win. And so we've got to argue to prove to these people that they're wrong and we're right. But 2 Timothy 2:23 says, don't have anything to do with foolish and stupid arguments because you know they produce quarrels. Now listen to what that verse says. That verse says just what I said about rebuilding a relationship. Stop arguing. Stop arguing. Quit trying to solve your disagreements by arguing. Think about how foolish that is. Well, we're going to solve our problem by arguing about it. Well, that just makes a lot of sense. Quit trying to fix your partner. Instead of trying to win the argument, start trying to heal the relationship. Proving that you're right doesn't prove or solve anything. Trust me on this. I know winning an argument does not win. Let me share what Amos 3:3 says. This is so amazing. Can two people walk together without agreeing on the direction? Isn't that an amazing statement? Can two people walk together without agreeing on the direction? Quit arguing, start agreeing. That's the principle, that's the point. Come to an agreement that you're not going to argue about the subject at hand. You know, you need to have, and by the way, the time to come to that agreement is not when you're arguing. Look, can we just agree to disagree? No! When you're arguing, that's the dumbest thing you can ask. Can we just agree to disagree? That's a good way to end up with a black eye. Listen, you have to have this discussion at a point where you're not in an argument phase. And what you do is you get to that point where you agree that you're going to discuss the matter, but the moment it starts turning into an argument, the discussion will stop immediately until you have a chance to calm down. Either party. So it needs to be one of these things. Okay, you know, I know that we've had this discussion and it's a sore subject between us and we really do need to find a solution. But before we start discussing it again, can we reach an agreement that if we start arguing about it, we stop discussing it immediately? Whichever one of us starts arguing, the conversation stops immediately until we have a chance to calm down, breathe through it, and then discuss it again. Stop arguing. Quit arguing about it. By the way, it is important for us to set those parameters in discussions about, because you know what the trigger point, you know what your partner's trigger points are. You know what their hot spots are. You know what you can do to really push that button and just really get them good. You know, that's just don't do that. That's just unfair. That's just not fair. That's not a fair discussion. That's really manipulation, and it's not fair at all. Don't do it. Proverbs 17:14 says, starting a quarrel is like breaching a dam. So drop the matter before a dispute breaks out. The Bible teaches us to quit arguing. You can discuss the matter, but the moment that it becomes an argument, stop it. And one of the ways that you get control of the arguing is by understanding the person. Oh boy, this is important. This is the second point. Focus on understanding your partner. Focus on understanding your partner. Proverbs 17:27 says, a truly wise person uses few words. A person with understanding is even-tempered. So a person, if you're discussing something with somebody and they just go off the handle and they get angry and they lose control and everything, that is a person without understanding, according to what this word says. This person doesn't understand what's going on. This person certainly doesn't understand you. And if you're the person that just has a tendency to lose your temper in a discussion and begin arguing, you're that person without understanding. There are always at least two sides to every story. And when I've discussed this matter with people, I'm always interested. Well, you know, he does this and this, or this. And I'm talking about any relationship here, couples, business, friends, family. And the other person says, well, they do this and everything. And then I think to myself, there are always two sides to the story, and probably more than two. And in fact, it's been my experience that generally the real story is somewhere in between. Understanding the other person generally begins with understanding how they feel, or feeling how they feel, really, put it very, very specifically. Begin to feel how they feel. Once you feel how they feel, you get a sense of the emotion that is driving their actions. If you understand what emotions they're going through, then you understand what's driving their actions. Are they afraid of something? Do they feel a loss? Are they feeling devalued? Do they feel betrayed? Are they threatened? What is it that they feel? What is that's going on inside of them that causes them to act that way? Once you understand that, then you can have a better understanding, and you feel how they feel, and then you understand what it is that's driving them. Once you understand where they come from, or where they're coming from, you'll begin to understand what's motivating them. Now let me give you some very careful instruction here. Real understanding of another person that you're discussing something with, real understanding comes from the Lord. It's not something that you are just gifted with. You know, you have this idea, well, I could really understand where you're coming from because, you know, I've seen this, you know, and I read a book about it once. Listen, real understanding comes from the Lord. As a matter of fact, Proverbs 2:6 says, for the Lord gives wisdom. From His mouth come knowledge and understanding. Understanding is something that God does. It's something that God helps you to see and understand and develop. It's something that God enlightens you about. You begin to see something in a discussion or in observing a person's life, whether it's, again, any type of relationship, you begin to see something in their life, and it gives you some wisdom, some insight of why that person is dealing with this issue, the way that they're dealing with this issue. That is understanding. That means that in order to really begin to understand each other, you need to do your part to restore a relationship if it is salvageable. And in order to do that, to do your part to restore a relationship that's salvageable, you need to have a right relationship with God so that you can be led by Him to know His direction. Listen to what I just said. Let me say it backwards. You need to have a right relationship with God so that you will understand if a relationship is salvageable, so that you can begin to understand where the other person is coming from. You need a right relationship with God.